As I said, we're required every year by the FAA to submit a 5-year capital improvement program. So this is the FY15 to FY19 capital improvement program for the airport. FY15, which is the first year for this plan, basically includes 3 components. It's the terminal area expansion module, which is the area just, here's the terminal building here, just to orientate you. There's a terminal building, the parking lot behind the terminal building, and terminal area expansion module 1 is the area that's directly out the window. If you look just to the east out the window, it's that area there. As you all are aware, we've already designed the improvements for that area. We have already received environmental permitting for that area, and we have actually already paid for the environmental mitigation for that area as well. So everything there is ready to go, designed, permitted, and ready to go. So that is our #1 priority, starting in FY15, is to get that terminal area expansion done right there. That is anticipated to be an FAA-funded project. Total project cost is about $1.8 million, and we do look to have 90% financing by a grant from the FAA. #2 is the paving and marking for that same area. So #1 is just the grading and drainage. It does not include the pavement surface. So #2 is the design of the pavement and marking for that area. So there's no construction included in item #2. It's just design work. #3 priority for FY15 is the construction of some new corporate hangars located in this facility. This is the fuel farm. This is the new hangar that's under construction currently. So it is the area directly behind the fuel farm. Those are anticipated to be privately funded. That is not anticipated to be a project of the Airport Authority or of the Industrial Building Authority. That's anticipated to be a private entity that will construct those facilities. We do have some other items that are in FY15, but they're reimbursables. They're not design, they're not construction. They're actually items that we have already paid for, such as some of our environmental mitigation. We've got our localizer platform, which has been on our reimbursable list for quite a while. And of course, those mitigation credits that I talked about for this area. Those are all reimbursables, and they are on our FY15 request to the FAA, but they're not shown on the exhibit here because there's not really anything to show. There's just paperwork involved. Moving on to FY16, you can see 6 projects that are being looked at for FY16. Priority #1 in FY16 would be terminal area expansion, paving, and marking. I just told you that we were going to design the paving and marking in FY15. So we've been utilizing this process for many, many years at the airport, where you design a project in one fiscal year, in one budget cycle for the FAA, and in the following fiscal year, you fund that construction. So it's the same process that we've been using for many, many years. Design this pavement structure in FY15 and then build it in FY16. Of course, we would intend for that to be an FAA-funded project as well. It's about a $2.5 million project, and again, would be available for 90% funding by the FAA. Priority #2 is the reimbursable for the taxiway widening that's currently taking place now, and the taxiway extension, which is currently taking place now. We did go ahead and show the reimbursable on FY16 because it is easy to show. It's not something like a localizer, which is much more difficult to show on the exhibit. This is easy to show on the exhibit, so we just went ahead and put it on there. Priority #3 is the runway safety area, the design for finishing up our runway safety area. All of the board members are aware, but I'll explain so that the public hopefully understands. We have a 1,000-foot safety overrun on the west end of the airport. So on this end, there's a 1,000-foot safety overrun. 1,000 foot is the ultimate desired safety overrun. So if you could have what you want and what is ultimately available and will be funded by the FAA, it's 1,000 foot. So we started off with a 300-foot safety overrun on the east end. So after our initial construction in 2008, we had a 300-foot safety overrun. We have just basically completed the project, as Mr. Redwine said a few minutes ago. We've just completed the project out to 600 feet, which takes us out to here. So we've got another 400 feet to get us from 600 out to 1,000, which is where we ultimately would like to be and where the FAA would like for us to be on the safety overrun. So number 3 here is just for the design. That is not the construction. The construction will come the following year. Number 4 is Terminal Area Expansion Module 2, which is the area just to the east of Module 1. So you've got Module 1 is here, Module 2 is here, and Module 3 is here. So those are just basically kind of like stair steps as you move to the east from the terminal building. That is the design for the grading in that area, so it's not construction, but it is designed for that grading in that area. Number 5 is the airport entrance road extension, which has been on the books for, I guess, 3 years now. That is not an FAA project, and it's actually not even an airport authority project. That is a project by the Paulding County Department of Transportation. It is funded, as most of you know, by a federal grant. It has been bogged down a little bit in the environmental process for the last couple of years, but the folks at DOT assure me that they're going to be able to get through the environmental process in 2014 and be able to start construction in sometime toward the end of 2015, which puts it in the FY16 fiscal year. So that project will take our entrance road, which currently stops here where you have to make the turn to come into the drive coming down to the flagpole. It'll extend it from here on down, not quite to the end of the airport, but pretty close. That is about a $2.5 million project, that, and again, is federally funded. Priority number 6 is the corporate executive hangars, which are adjacent to and behind the hangar that we currently have under construction. So this is our corporate hangar that's under construction today, and the area directly behind it and directly behind the T hangars is where we anticipate the next set of corporate and executive hangars to go. Again, these hangars, we do not anticipate those to be airport authority projects or county projects. We anticipate those to be privately funded. So we anticipate those to be private projects. The total, by the way, for the reimbursable on the taxiway extension is about $3.4 million. The design on the safety area extension is about $150,000 on the design, and the remainder is, as I said, federal funded and privately funded. Moving on to FY17. FY17, we again have 6 projects that we're looking at for funding, either for construction or design in FY17. The runway safety area extension to 1,000 feet. Again, we design it in FY16 and we build it in FY17. And again, this is a federally funded project through the FAA. Terminal area expansion module 2. We design it in 16 and we build it in 17. So this is the construction. Only for the grading. Once again, we're stair-stepping this construction. We're doing the grading in 1 year, and we're doing the pavement and the marking in the following year. So that is the construction of the grading. Number 3 is corporate hangar area expansion, which is the area that is to the north of our existing ramp, which as you came into the parking lot, as you were driving down this little road here to the terminal parking lot, it would have been the ramp on your right-hand side as you drive down that little road. Once the airport frontage road is extended down, then we no longer need this connector that connects us back over from these 2 parking lots. So at that point in time, this area then becomes available for hangar construction, which is the long-term plan for it. It's been the plan ever since day 1 to have that area constructed as hangars and not to have that driveway connection there. Number 4 is terminal area expansion module 2, paving and marking. This is designed for the paving and marking. As I just said, we're going to build the grading and drainage in 17, design the pavement and marking in 17, and then build it in 18. Number 5 is the installation of the approach lights. These are the approach lights for runway 31. This is design only, so again, following the same process that we use for basically all of our projects. Be designed one year and constructed the next. By the way, the approach lighting system is not available for federal funding. FAA does not fund those. The state typically funds those. So that will be a project that we'll have to pursue state funding from Georgia Department of Transportation on the approach lights, both design and construction. Then number 6 is executive hangars. This is the area that is just to the west of the building here. So large flat grassed area. And again, these hangars are not anticipated to be airport authority projects or IBA projects. These are anticipated to be privately funded projects from business entities moving on to the airfield. FY18. We have 7 projects programmed for FY18, starting with corporate hangar area expansion, which is the area just to the north of the ramp that we were just talking about. The hangars will be to either side, will be to the east and west, and the apron will be in between those, which is the same setup that we have today. So we're just extending that apron out and placing those additional hangars on either side of that apron. That is the construction. Number 2 is the approach lighting to runway 31, and again, that is not a federal project, that is a state project, so that's something that we'll pursue through the Georgia Department of Transportation. Number 3 is itinerant parking area expansion. So we anticipate by the time we get to FY18 that there could be a need for some additional pavement south of our ramp. So if you take a quick peek out the window just to the right over here, right next to where our connector taxiway is, here's our connector taxiway. So we're looking at some potential itinerant parking right there. So if an aircraft is coming in and it's not a based aircraft, it doesn't normally park here, but it has to have a place to stay overnight, then we need to have a location for that aircraft to go. Today, we typically put those itinerary aircraft on the big apron here. But by FY18, we anticipate having hangars all the way around that apron. So if we've got hangars all the way around that apron, and those hangars, those aviation businesses are using that piece of ramp, then that piece of ramp would no longer be available for those itinerary aircraft. So we would take and build some additional ramp on the south side for those itinerary aircraft. Number 4 is T-hangar tie-down area expansion, and that is south of the existing T-hangar area. The existing T-hangars are here. New corporate hangar that's under construction here. We anticipate that we are going to need some new tie-down space by FY18. Currently, it's the same scenario as we have with the itinerary aircraft, where we have a good bit of ramp up here that's currently not being used that we can use for tie-down and other itinerary aircraft that are GA aircraft. Once this building is built and this building is built, then we can no longer use that ramp for that purpose. So at that point, we have to have some new ramp available for GA tie-down aircraft, and we would look to do that south of the existing ramp. 3 and 4 are both design only, so design is in FY18. We would look at construction in FY19. Number 5 is getting back to our terminal area expansion module 2, which is this module here. This is the paving and marking. This is construction, and that construction amount is a bit hard to see in the dark. About $2.5 million on the paving and marking for module number 2, which was about the same as the paving and marking for module number 1. So very similar sized projects. 6 again is corporate hangars. This is in the module 1 area. So as we finished up construction on the paving and marking in module 1, we anticipate users to come in and start building hangars in that area. Those are, again, not airport funded or IBA funded or any other way funded through the county. Those are anticipated to be privately funded by the users. And then 7 is the corporate hangars that are adjacent to the new piece of ramp that would be constructed here. Again, not airport authority funded or IBA funded, but privately funded. Moving on to FY19, which is the last year in our 5-year plan. We have about 6 projects that are programmed,